New metal.
Yeah, man.
Nickelback.
I don't know. Nickelback's new metal, but also
I,
lots of that.
okay, can I ask, what the hell is new metal?
It's a complicated kind of broad term. I think it refers to a lot of music that like you generally blends hip hop with metal with
Yeah.
rock.
Yeah.
Those are your Linkin Parks, Limp Bizkits, Korn, bands like that. They're often there are a lot of bands that either you kind of love or you hate.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially from like late '90s, early
Yeah.
2000s that they had their commercial
Yeah.
peak. Yeah,
And now I feel like a boomer, but is Nickelback considered new metal?
they're no, they're
No.
not new metal. They're
Okay.
sort of like I don't know what you call them. They're definitely rock of some
Yeah.
sort, but it's sort of like kind of cringy pop, safe pop radio,
Yeah.
like rock.
Yeah.
I think that's how they've been perceived.
Yeah.
Especially back in the 2000s. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you wrote this article, and I thought it was pretty interesting how how the tide has shifted, and now like Nickelback is, I want to say, more successful than ever, more popular than ever now.
I don't know. I think it depends how you look at it. Because
Yeah.
commercially, should be clear, commercially speaking, like a lot of these bands we're talking about, they're not topping many
Yeah.
charts.
Yeah.
Unless you're Linkin Park.
Yeah.
They got a new album, they topped the mainstream rock charts for a while.
Yep.
But no, I think commercially, I don't know if they're much up there, but I do think public perception has changed a bit.
Yeah.
Because I know growing up, like I thought, it was fun to hate Limp Bizkit or
Yeah.
Nickelback was the butt of every joke.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. Can I ask why? Like, where does this come from? Like, what's the reason? Why are these bands like back in the mix? Why are they like almost cool again? Sure, they're not at their peak like what they once were at, like in the 2000s, but like I feel like they're relatively more universally loved now than they were in the 2000s.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's definitely a greater, a lot more love coming their way.
Yeah.
Generally, I think there's a few different factors. So I know in some cases, like memes have like played a role. Like I think of Creed is another band.
Yeah.
They're Higher, their song Higher. Like that was I remember. I think it still is a meme for a while, and then it just like there are people like kind of over time just like actually I kind of really like this. It's really nice, and so I think meme culture. On one hand, meme culture I think is sort of bringing back. Hit the mic. Just kind of bringing back this resurgence of, what would be like 20-year-old music now. But then also like we have like the internet with all that's wrong with it and social media, all that's the toxicity out there. It's a much greater melting pot of ideas and creativity, and so I think a lot of people are out there and they're. I think people, like you were saying with X, just feel more comfortable being themselves.
Yeah.
And because the thing is, there are definitely fans of these bands.
For sure.
People have always been fans, but it's like something you kind of, you keep tucked away. You don't want people to know you like Limp Bizkit, But now it's like you go out there and it's much easier to find people who align with you.
Yeah.
And so I think people get that. I think people, just feel more comfortable with that. And I don't know. I think also, like, it's like, I don't know. I feel like, I kind of delve into a little bit in the article, but it's like, I do feel like there's so much, like, my hot take is that there's so much fucked up in the world right now that people are, like, at a point where they just, they look at, like, Limp Bizkit and they're just like, you know what?
It's harmless.
It's harmless, but also, like, you know what? I think it sounds cool.
Yeah.
I don't care what other people think. Those guitars, like DJ scratches, like that was like cringe for a while. And then I was like, you know what? Sounds cool. I don't care.
Yeah.
So
I think there's something in that where like for one, it might be like sure you can like I think the lazy answer is to like to tie it down to nostalgia. But I think the other one is it's a bit of nostalgia and it's a bit of like people have like the people that grew up listening to that and liking that music. They've grown up now and they're like less insecure about their interests as much as niche as they are.
That's true too.
It's almost like I don't really care anymore if you like it or not.
Totally,
And like
yeah.
there's like almost, and like the good thing now you've touched on it, like there's always like a community of people that like what you like, so it's a bit more validating. Whereas back then, maybe like with the lack of like social media apps, you couldn't really find a community that liked Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
In a town of 200 people, maybe you're like one of 3 people that like their music.
Yeah.
But now you go and there's like a subreddit with like
yeah.
fucking 20, 30,000 people that like really rock with these people.
Yeah.
You know?
I think people feel safer tapping into that.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I think the other thing is that like, I mean, I'm strictly going off pointers here, but like I like the saying like cringe feeds with confidence.
Yeah.
And this is like so true with almost everything. Like
Yeah.
even like when it comes to fashion, like I remember like back in the 2000s, like early 2000s, like Jenko jeans, like the big ass jeans
yeah.
were like actually cringe. And like I guess you can kind of like tie it into the music genre that is like new metal almost. Like
Yeah.
the person that would be listening to that music would most likely be wearing like Jenko jeans.
Right.
And now like they're it's had some time to like for people to miss it, but I think people are just like more confident than ever in like their own thing, that it's just like I'm this, you can either be with me or against me kind of thing.
Yeah. I had a point. Yeah. I think. Now you made a great point. I think just about like cringing confidence though, because I don't know if this relates totally to what you were saying, but like I do think like I'm a believer that like, you know, like in terms of like fashion, you know, like or making art or anything, like, you know, it becomes much more likable if you just do it with confidence. You know, you know, I could dress like shit, but you know, if I just like, you know, if I'm confident about it, I don't let it bother me. Then it kind of switches the whole narrative and the mindsets of people around you. So, yeah. Well, and I think with like music, like I know you look at like, I mean, Limp Bizkit's actually a great example, because when a lot of people say they hate Limp Bizkit, more or less they mean they hate Fred Durst, the vocalist. Because have you ever listened to them before? He has a
Tell me.
Because the thing is that like you take him out of the picture, they actually sound like a really fucking cool band. But then his vocals, he has very kind of whiny, like his whole thing is like he has really kind of just shit lyrics.
Okay, fair enough.
Generally,
fair enough.
you know, and he does a lot of like his voice. I'll try it. It goes to a pitch. He's like, yeah, you know, hands up, hey. Literally, that's how he talks, how he raps.
That's like half the rappers I listen to nowadays.
Yeah. But maybe that's part of it, like, because that was the thing. We were like, oh, he sounds horrible. I don't like him. And then it's like, I think now it's like, you know what, you know, as terrible as his lyrics are, as wild as he sounds, you know, he is pretty fucking confident on stage and on the mic, and I think people are drawn to that. And you know, even if his voice is divisive, you know, he does it with confidence, and I think that attracts the right crowd.
I think I think it's something like having like a confident community makes it almost more enticing to the average person to like tap in. Like if I mean it really because I'm more tapped into like the underground like rap scene, and like whenever I see like a tight-knit community that's like rooting for this one guy, even if objectively to me his music is trash, every time he drops something, I'm going to give it a listen, because like 20,000 people say they like it. Am I missing something?
Right.
Kind of thing?
Right.
And like them rooting so hard for that interest or that music or that fashion or that trend, whatever, makes me go like, oh, let me tap in. Like there's almost like a tiny bit of FOMO there, I think. That you're like, oh damn, maybe I'm missing something. Let me just give it another go.
Yeah. No. Oh, absolutely. I think that's a great way of looking at it. And I think also it's worth noting, like, you know, I think everyone knows the phrase "beauty's in the eye of the beholder." Like that's, I think it's tossed around a lot. It was kind of vague, but I do think, like, generally speaking, you like what you like. You know, and. Yeah, I think, like, you know, the odds are, you know, I'm sure we got different music tastes. I'm sure each of us have songs we'll listen to that the other like, what the fuck is this? You know, so it's like, but so I think I think that aware. People are becoming, I think, more aware of that reality,
Yeah.
and that's just a more accepted
Yeah.
thing.
And I think that's something that's been like this like swing of tide thing is really important because it's almost like I mean think like Crocs. Like Crocs were the epitome of like cringe when I was in school.
Yeah.
And now they're like the cool boy shoe, like the cool girl shoe. Like if you don't have Crocs, you're almost like the weirdo now.
Yeah, or
It's-
like I think a New Balances.
Yeah.
New Balance.
Yeah.
Not these specific shoes,
But
but
yeah, like in general,
you
like
know.
dad shoes or like
Yeah.
mesh runner shoes, like
Yeah.
you couldn't be seen wearing them in the 2000s. Or like you could, but it wasn't deemed as fashionable.
Yeah.
Now it's like, it's almost like the most fashionable shoe you can wear.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think we've talked about it maybe.
Yeah.
When ages ago about was it girls in the UK and dads in Ohio? Something like that.
Supermodels in the UK and like that.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's just one last thing I'll touch on is that like there's a sense of validation for the person that is rocking with something that is cringe that's turned into like mainstream or that's turned into cool. So like if you're a Nickelback fan that was rocking with them unapologetically when they were getting shit and they were hated on, I think there's like a sense of like I don't know, I guess relief or success or like there's a really strong feeling of feel good energy when you start being like, oh, I was rocking with these people when it was not cool, and now it's cool, and now we're back.
Yeah.
And like, I think there's like, I don't know what the word is, but there's something in that is like, because I almost felt that with wrestling, to be honest. Like wrestling was kind of cool back in the early 2000s, and then it just like lost its cool like for the last like, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so. But like now it's like more back than ever. And me rocking with them or me like being part of a community that has like the wrestling stuff, seeing that people like it, be like now it makes me go like, oh, welcome back on board. Like it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. It's validating. Yeah. You feel like, because I think because very few people I think can just be totally confident in themselves and be like, I like this. I don't care what a single other person thinks.
Yeah.
I like it. We do seek outside validation, external validation. And so I think absolutely when things like this, when these kinds of bands who are, 20 years ago would have been, were just trashed on, constantly, they're suddenly like, they're not massive now, but they're like, they're still selling out, decent amounts of shows and then they're just more accepted. Generally, it's like, oh, totally. It's validating, the teens who listen to those bands back then, they're in their 30s and 40s now.
Yeah, they're all like adults, parents now. And
they're
stuff.
parents.
Yeah.
They feel like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, fair. I'm gonna put you on the spot, so apologies in advance. But
Go for it.
what's something that like you think is cringe now that you think will be a trend or like will be cool? It could be something you're into, or it could be something that just you think is just like an objective like prediction.
That's a tough one. I'm trying to think what's cringe right now. What's not yet.
Genuinely, I think it's skinny jeans for me.
But yeah, actually that might be it.
Like,
I'm gonna side with that skinny jeans just because I mean, I think about when I think about fashion, what came to mind when you said skinny jeans, I think of low-rise jeans because those have made a comeback now. Yeah. Or I saw someone, I was in downtown before and I saw. It would have been like a high school girl walking around. She had kind of the flowy dress down to the knees and jeans under that. And I'm like, that's like, wow, that's making a comeback. Yeah. So I think we're back in the 2000s fashion wise now, and I think we might make it back to the 2010s. Yeah. And I think, it could be skinny jeans. I think a lot of that, like, I don't know if this is the right terminology, but like emo culture and like how people dress then. For sure. I got friends like that who. Dress like that, and I think that could make all.
Even like to the extent of like this is gonna be way too soon now, but like even like to the extent of like 2020 like e-boy e-girl stuff, I feel like that makes a comeback. Yeah, I feel like that becomes cool again at some point. Maybe not now, maybe not in 10 years, maybe in 20, 30 years, who knows. With that being said, guys, let us know. Is there something that you think is cringe now that you think would be cool?
Let us know. We'll try to make it come back.
Make your predictions in the comments. If you do, you can have the bragging right of being like, I was right.
Yep, and we will try to be the driving forces.
Yeah,
behind bringing this back.
We'll push that agenda.
We'll bring skinny jeans tomorrow.
Tomorrow is gonna be a skinny jeans only episode.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah, but guys, with that being said, guys, thanks so much for tuning to the Up Podcast. Devin, any final words?
No.
Perfect.
Yeah, love you all. Yeah, thanks for joining.
See you tomorrow. Peace.
See ya.